What we have here is a 2018 Maserati. This is a Maserati, right? Maserati? Yeah? Okay. What we have here is a 2018 Maserati Ghibli, the best-selling Maserati of all time. But does that mean that this is the best Maserati? Well, we're gonna find out. Today I borrowed this car from a friend to show you this Ghibli. I'll give you some pointers as far as driving impressions on this Ghibli. I'm gonna take it for a drive. I'm going to point out some of the features that I like on this Ghibli, and then at the very end I'm going to tell you what to look for if you're planning to buy a Ghibli. And I also think this is my favorite word, Ghibli. You can use it for anything. Oh, you son of a Ghibli. Man, it's so Ghibli cold out here. Ask not what your Ghibli can do for you, but what you can do for your Ghibli. Maseratis always have had a bad rep for reliability, and this Ghibli isn't a Lexus either, but I don't think it's as bad as most people make it sound. And that is thanks to the supply chain and the Ferrari engineers. Ferrari you say? Yes, Ferrari I say. Maserati as a company has had a rough life, been passed down from owner to owner. But in 1993, Fiat bought it from Di Tommaso, who had previously saved the company from bankruptcy. Plans started brewing right away, but nothing exciting happened. In 1997, Fiat sold a 50% stake of the company to Ferrari, who is also owned by Fiat. And that's when the fun started. Ferrari got started making plans and changes, working on exciting cars like the Gran Turismo and the MC12, which was based on the Ferrari Enzo. They ultimately developed the M157 platform, which the underpinnings of that platform is what helped them create this car and the Levante SUV as well. So as you'll find out soon, this car has some very exciting parts from Ferrari, and we'll touch more on that in just a minute. Now this Ghibli is a luxury sedan finished in a black exterior paint with black leather interior. As you can see, it's got red stitching. All-wheel drive automatic transmission sporting a twin-turbo 3.6 liter V6 engine from Ferrari. Vroom, vroom. Yes, that's right. This car has a Ferrari engine in it. You don't believe me? Check this out. This engine produced 345 horsepower on the base model and 424 horsepower on the S-trim, which this is that. Price new was right around 73,000 for this for the base model, and right around 86,000 for the S-trim, which this is. And now, since it's so cold outside, we are already inside, where I wanted to show you some of my favorite features. Then we'll go for a drive, and then finally I'll show you some of the things that you should look for if you're planning to buy one. Now in the interior, it is a very nice place to be. I'm gonna be honest, it's not the best materials in here, but they are quality materials, and some of them, like this plasticky center console here, made out to look like wood, actually looks like wood. I wouldn't be too disappointed if I got this. Obviously I would prefer the carbon fiber look, but this, very nice job. Another feature that's interesting is how Maserati puts the volume control, the radio control, right here in the middle. There's a knob. Instead of having it, you know, here on the display or next to this here, no, they have it right here in the center. Initially I was looking for the controls in the steering wheel, which I don't see any here. I don't think they have them here. If somebody knows, but instead they have them here, right in the middle. To start the car in a Maserati, obviously you have to have the key with you, and then the start button is actually placed here on the left side, sort of like a Porsche. They must have stolen that from Porsche. And after that, it's pretty standard. You just, you know, depress your brake pedal and press the button and go. I absolutely love the Maserati, the Trident right here on the steering wheel. It's just such a phenomenal emblem to look at. It's so prestigious and stylish, but at the same time aggressive and powerful. They also have them in the various gauges. You can see it in the speedometer, you can see it in the tachometer, and this analog clock that they have placed in the center of the dashboard also has that Trident symbol in it, as well as in your entertainment center and a few other places. The manual handbook also has the Maserati Trident emblem there as well, which I gotta say, it looks great. Something that's become pretty standard now in a lot of the vehicles, it's remote start, and this car has remote start, and that's also such a nice feature to have. You can start your car from inside the house, warm it up, and most importantly, hear it. You can hear your car start from the outside. So driving the Maserati Ghibli. So let's start with the seating position. Getting in here, lots of adjustability. The seat is pretty bolstered, it's pretty comfortable. It doesn't feel like a bucket seat out of you know, something like a sportier car like an M3 or something like that, but it is very comfortable, and it offers enough bolstering support. Lots of adjustability. I'm able to bring it down a lot. It moves backwards a lot, so whether you're a small lady or a very large man, I think you're going to find a comfortable position here with this adjustability, with the adjustability on these seats. Steering wheel, very nice. I really like it. Nice girth, nice shape, feels very sporty, but at the same time very comfortable and luxurious. Obviously, you know, the Maserati emblem right here, the Maserati, the Trident, the very famous Trident in the Maserati Ghibli. Visibility is quite well. The back window is very small, but you can still see all the peasants that you pass by. Nobody cares about them anyway. Ergonomically speaking, all the controls are within reach. The engine itself is pretty good. It sounds pretty good. It's a Ferrari sourced V6 twin turbo. It's not as loud as you would expect, you know, something from Ferrari, but you know, you got to keep in mind that this is, after all, a luxury sedan, so they tone it down just a bit. It is very responsive. There's not a whole lot of turbo lag. I do think though that a car like this will benefit from something like a V8, simply because of the low end torque that you need, that immediacy that the V8 will give you. But again, you know, that could be maybe a Trofeo model, and I believe now the new Trofeo model, I think, comes with a Ferrari sourced V8. Brakes are pretty good. I mean, these are Brembo brakes, so as you would expect, they're properly sized for the vehicle. It brakes very well. I'm not sure about fading. I haven't taken this car to the track or anything like that, but the brake pedal feels very consistent, very nice. Now, there must be some adjustability when you put it in sport mode, because it does get grippier. I guess the level of assistance that you get from the brake booster increases in sport mode. Talking about sport mode, once you put the car in sport mode, Interestingly enough, I think that, generally when you think about M Sport, or, well, not M Sport, but any kind of sport mode in any kind of car, generally what that means is the car will become more capable. It will become more engaging, and then it will make you feel more comfortable to be able to push the limit. The suspension typically tightens up, the throttle response becomes quicker, the transmission shifting points become shorter, right? So, and then depending on the different vehicles, you may have even hydraulics engaging different things, right? Maybe the brake booster may adjust. In some cars, your steering angle changes, right? Gets tighter. In this car, interestingly enough, I feel as if the car, by you activating the sport mode, makes the car anxious. It makes the car nervous. It makes the car feels like, like when somebody who's afraid of needles gets vaccinated and they're just kind of like sitting there tight, like, okay, I can do it, but okay, let's just get it over with. I don't know, and I think that has to do with the dampening that I was mentioning before. I feel as if the dampening in the suspension was not completely tuned properly, and that is affecting the driving dynamics of the vehicle. When you think about something like an M Sport car or an M car from BMW, or even just a regular 5 Series, 3 Series, you're gonna notice that the suspension is very forgiving for everyday drive. Is very stable, very comfortable. You feel very confident, very secure, but the car performs really well. There's no bounciness, which in this car there is. Right now I'm in the normal mode, and it feels kind of like, very bouncy, right? By putting the car in sport mode, which I'm going to do now, right away the exhaust note changes, the suspension, transmission shifts, all these different things adjust. But I feel the car getting a little bit nervous, like, okay, I can get the job done, but let's get it over with. When you ride in like an F car from Lexus or an M car, you feel very, very capable. You feel in control. And I think this car is lacking a little bit of that. And I'm going to say it's mostly the suspension dampening. Mostly. Now let's put the car back in sport mode as we're slowing down, just to get a little bit more bass out of the exhaust. That sounds very nice though. And talking about the sound of the engine and where it comes from, as we know, this is a Ferrari sourced engine, and a lot of people give this car crap, right? They think that reliability is a problem, which it kind of is, but at the end of the day, this is a high-end, a luxury vehicle, and it is going to cost you money to run it. But if you're used to running things like Jaguars or Land Rovers, and how quirky those cars are, this car is exactly the same. You are going to experience things that all of a sudden some parts of the electronics don't work well, or maybe the car may go into limp mode. Quality is not the same. This is more of a niche car, so you're not going to have quality control in something like a Lexus, right? It's just these companies don't have the budget to do that. But if you are comfortable maintaining a BMW, a Jaguar, a Land Rover, you will be perfectly fine with one of these cars. These cars are, as I was mentioning, and I've been mentioning, some of the supply chain that they've been using for parts for these cars are pretty good parts. So I don't think you're going to have as many issues as people have had in the past with like quattroportes and things like that. This car is going to be a lot more reliable than you think. And now let's look into things you should look for if you're planning to buy one of these. Now, listen, I've made a checklist. It's probably the most comprehensive checklist you're gonna find on the internet. The link is attached below. Download it, it's free. And this is the list that I personally use. These are the things that I look when I'm gonna go purchase a vehicle. Now, whenever you're gonna go buy a car, it doesn't hurt to bring along somebody who knows a lot about cars that can help you look for things, right? And I would also recommend that if you are really liking whatever car you're looking at, that you also get a pre-purchase inspection or a PPI. And this can be done by your local Maserati dealership or an experienced shop. I assure you, it will be the best $200 that you spend on the car. So Miguel, is a Maserati Ghibli a good purchase? Well, if it's the S trim, I definitely think so. I mean, think about it, guys. Look at the design of this car. It's absolutely beautiful. Yes, does it have some shortcomings? Yes. I mean, if you compare it to some of the Lexus vehicles, some of the BMW vehicles, yes, it has a few shortcomings. But where else are you gonna find a design like this? Where else are you gonna find a nameplate that carries so much significance, so much heritage as Maserati, with a Ferrari sourced V6 for the amount of money? It's just not going to happen. So this is in essence, a family Ferrari. Right, so let's jump right into it. Before you purchase any niche car or high-end luxury car, you must first take into consideration what it will cost you to maintain it. And just as equally important is to make sure that the current owner has maintenance records, as this is proof that the car has been properly maintained. Be sure to compare those records with the car's maintenance schedule so that you can forecast the upcoming maintenance you'll have to deal with in the near future. These cars are still fairly new, so maintenance and repairs will cost you more and will slowly come down as the vehicle receives more aftermarket support. Also consider whether you will be doing some of the repairs yourself, or if you have an independent mechanic, or if you'll have to take the car to a dealership. Depending on which option is available to you, the cost will vary drastically. For instance, an oil change can range between $500 to $800 if you take it to the dealership. You can do it yourself relatively easy for about $100 in parts. Similarly, be sure to check the brakes. A brake job for a Ghibli at a dealership can range between $2,300 to $2,700 for the front brake pads and rotors, and about $1,000 for the rear rotors and pads. You can also do this job yourself for a few $100s and have a local shop do it for you if you prefer. OEM rotors can also be resurfaced once, even though the dealer will tell you they are not serviceable. This is told to you exactly on the rotor itself. Keep an eye out for interior noises and loose parts as well. As these cars age, you may need to start replacing clips, clamps, and possibly interior pieces to keep it up to speed. Some owners report an issue with the drop window switch. The Ghibli has a feature that lowers the window a bit when you open the door and raises it back up when you close it. This is because the Ghibli has a frameless door. This can be quirky. Many owners have taken their cars to the dealer for a software reset, and this has resolved the issue. You will inevitably have electrical issues like misfires or the ECU going into limp mode for no reason. Sometimes these go away on their own. Make sure that when you're test driving the car, you allow plenty of time, let the car warm up properly, then drive it for at least 5 miles under different driving conditions to allow for any issues to reveal themselves. And lastly, I want to talk about recalls. There are a few recalls out for these cars. Make sure that you use a site like kellyblookbook.com/Maserati/recall, where you can enter the VIN of your car and it gives you a list of all the recalls. There are a few electrical recalls that can cause a fire hazard, and there is a recall for a rear tie rod that could be dangerous. So make sure you have those addressed. I am now going to roll through the screen detailed information regarding recalls. Feel free to pause the video and read through those as you see fit. Thanks so much everybody for watching. Please consider subscribing as that helps with the algorithm, which in turn will help my channel grow. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and most importantly, if you have helpful information about this car, please post it in the comments below and I will pin it to the top to help others looking for this information. See you all next time.